I woke up with a terrible headache. My vision was blurry, and the room was spinning around me. I lay on the floor for a few seconds, waiting for the dizziness to subside. Once I felt a bit better, I shakily tried to lift my heavy body off the ground. I sat up, but my vision went dark again. I blinked a few times. Slowly, things started to improve, but my heart was racing, and my palms were drenched in sweat. I remembered that I had slipped down the stairs and fallen. I looked around. The place I was in resembled anything but my home. I was sitting in a vast hall that narrowed to a pinpoint at its end. Towering walls, stretching up to the sky, surrounded me. The entire length of the walls was covered with full-length mirrors. Suddenly, I jumped up. Fear overwhelmed me. I was trembling, and my legs couldn't move. Tears welled up in my eyes. I wanted to scream, hoping this horrible nightmare would end, but my mouth wouldn't open. It was as if my tongue was glued to the roof of my mouth. I touched my face, my mouth, eyes, nose, everything was in its place. I looked at the mirror on my left. A woman who resembled me was in it, but that woman wasn't me. My fear grew. I took a step forward. I squinted in the darkness to see better. I raised my hand and waved, but the reflection in the mirror remained still. She was dressed exactly like me, with the same hair color and skin tone. I rubbed my eyes with my hand. I wasn't seeing things. Everything felt both real and unreal at the same time. I moved closer, pressing my face against the mirror. I doubted what I was seeing. The image of the woman disappeared, as if from a live scene in a film. In a small, shabby house, two young children lay on a worn-out mattress. Their mother, with rough fingers and bitten nails, and messy hair stuck to her forehead, was playing with them. Around them, second-hand and worn-out items were piled up, and the strong scent of poverty and deprivation filled the air. The woman felt like half of an apple, a part of my soul I was unaware of. One of the two children, who seemed older, opened their eyes. He fully pulled his head out from under the blanket and quietly said, "Mother?" The mother replied, "Yes, my dear." I felt as though someone was watching us. The mother said, "Just don't be afraid, I'm here with you. Close your eyes and sleep." I pulled myself back. I was frightened. I ran toward the end of the hall, but no matter how much I ran, the hall seemed to stretch longer before me. I became breathless and stopped. I glanced to my left and right. Everywhere I looked, there were mirrors, identical in shape and size. I took a look at the mirrors one by one. In each, there was an image of a woman who looked just like me but with a different appearance. I chose one and stood in front of it. A middle-aged woman with brown eyes and shoulder-length straight, chestnut-colored hair. When I grow old, I will look like her. The woman was cooking in the kitchen while listening to the radio. While she worked, she called out a man's name to make sure he was there. "John?" "Yes, Mom?" After that, she didn't say anything more. Suddenly, there was a sound of something breaking, coming from somewhere outside the kitchen. She rushed out. On the sofa in front of the television, a young man with a physical disability had fallen to the ground, and pieces of a broken ceramic cup were scattered around him. The woman hurriedly lifted the boy from the floor and sat him on the couch. He had clenched his fists and was trying to speak. The woman wiped the spilled milk off the boy's head and face with her apron and asked, "Are you okay? Did you get hurt?" Then she pressed the boy's head against her chest and took a deep breath. An 8-year-old girl, just like my childhood, was skiing down a steep, snow-covered slope with her ski poles in hand. I couldn't recall ever having skied. I had always been afraid of the cold. Watching the mirrors had become a game for me. I examined them one by one. Each one displayed a film of me in different characters and varied lives. In one life, I was a teacher, in another, a homemaker, and in one, an astronaut. I had forgotten where I was and what I was doing. My fear and terror had transformed into courage, and my confusion into amusement and fun. I wanted to see more. In each life, my morals, behaviors, and ways of thinking were very different. In some lives, I was happy and content, and in others, I was depressed and mad, homeless and poor. Each mirror told the story of my existence. but one mirror, with a golden framed border, caught my attention. This one was unlike any of the others. I hesitated at first. I wanted to watch the film within it, but its different appearance made me doubt. My mouth went dry, and my body felt hot. With all my fear and hesitation, I approached it without blinking. I stood in front of it. I saw myself. The self that I was, but it seemed to live in another world. I pressed my hands against the sides of the mirror and stared into my eyes. Uncontrollably, a smile of joy spread across my lips. I felt like a bird whose cage doors had been opened. My eyes filled with tears of happiness, and I ran my hands across the mirror. I caressed my face and kissed it. I had missed myself. In that moment, I felt that not only was I in another world but also in a different and wonderful life of my own. I spread my imaginary wings to fly, but with each passing moment, I felt more trapped within myself. I pressed my face against the mirror. There was no image other than my own. I stepped back and moved forward again. It was just a reflection of my movements and nothing more. But within that reflection, there was something deeper, a clarity of hope and desire, as if every time I looked into that mirror, I reached a new world. In the background of this reflection, sounds from other lives echoed in my ears. The laughter of children, shouts of joy, and even the howl of the wind swirled around me. I felt that this mirror was not only a reflection of myself but also a bridge to unseen lives and forgotten dreams. Slowly, I approached it once more. I told myself that I couldn't just stand by and watch. This time, I had to dive deep into this new world and find the answers to my life within it. I examined the mirror closely. Up, down, left, and right. I gripped its golden frame tightly, but it was firmly glued to the wall, as if it had become one with it. A strange curiosity filled me. I wanted to know what lay behind this mirror. A foolish thought crossed my mind. I searched for something heavy or sharp, but found nothing. Finally, I took off my shirt and wrapped it around my wrist. I clenched my hand and struck the center of the mirror with a hard blow. The hoarse sound of the mirror cracking echoed through the air like thunder. A deep fissure formed in the center of the mirror, rapidly spreading across its entire surface. At that moment, a sensation washed over me. It felt as if something inside me shattered simultaneously with the breaking of the mirror. I pressed my hand against my chest, as if my heart had cracked. Invisible, unseen claws tightened around my heart with a painful eagerness. I gasped for breath and fell to the ground. When the first crack appeared on the mirror, it felt as if time had shattered. My reflection splintered, and I was divided into 1,000 pieces. Each crack, each thin line on the surface of the mirror became a corridor that swallowed moments from my life, then reflected them like a live film before my eyes. The first fragments were from my childhood. A small, carefree, and joyful girl. My eyes followed her as she played in the sunlight, dreaming of growing up. But that simple joy was nothing more than an illusion. Another crack revealed my teenage self, ambitious and full of distant dreams. What happened? All those dreams lay shattered and aimless, just like the mirror. Then, with each new crack, I saw a stage of my life. My career successes, the money I earned, the admiration of others, my beauty, the relationships I had. Each piece of the mirror revealed a moment from those times, but none of them were clear and complete. They were all blurry and indistinct, like a film that had been damaged. Everything passed quickly, without meaning, without depth. Suddenly, more pieces shattered. In one of them, I saw myself in a glittering house, among a group of people who all seemed unreal. Everyone was smiling, but there was no feeling behind those smiles. I was there, yet I felt absent. Loneliness sat heavily on my shoulders. A voice echoed in my mind, "Is this all there is?" With each moment, the cracks multiplied. Now, my life's film was entirely fragmented. Everything was in pieces and cut up, like fragments of memories I had forgotten or perhaps never paid attention to. I was drowning in these cracks, lost among the living films that each displayed another fracture of my life. With eyes fixed in a mixture of joy and terror, I watched them. I ran my hand over the cracks in the mirror. My reflection was lost within the fissures. Was there still a way to escape? Or perhaps everything had come to an end? For a moment, I took a deep breath and